change tire, but I think yeah.
It rains or pours, huh?
Yeah, well, on a trailer, it's a real, you got a trailer full of cattle.
Oh, yeah, you did have one of those. Nice.
Yeah. That's something good. I haven't, but I did have one.
He's gonna have to cut it.
We'll call this meeting to order on October 20th at 10:06 a.m. If we could all stand for the pledge. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, please have roll.
Mr. Lawrence Burns, Chair.
Present.
Mr. Lawrence Pacheco, Vice Chair.
Present.
Mr. Joe Gallegos, Commissioner Tumbay.
Present.
Mr. Evan Loboto, County Attorney.
Present.
Mr. Ben Dooms, Chief Administrative Officer.
Present.
Also present is Deputy Clerk and Recorder, Ms. Jean Basic. Adoption of the agenda. Are there any additions or deletions to the agenda?
I have nothing.
Yeah, I see it. You still have staffing issues. Is that, should staff still be on there?
Council asked about,
To keep that on? Okay.
yeah,
Okay, then we'll move on to, do you have a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Public comment period. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to make a public comment?
morning.
Would you state your name for the record, please?
Sure, my name is Manny Feliu. So I just want to talk briefly just about like the long-term camping permits. I'm asking that you guys consider allowing them being sold again until spring. Take the winter, let's come up with a set of standards, and then we can kind of like change the code later on as to like what would allow someone to get a camping permit versus not getting one. I just feel like at this point, right before winter hits, as it's setting in, not to have the camping permits definitely means a lot of people will be relocated to God knows where, a homeless shelter or whatever. So yeah, I just wanted to give you guys like my opinion on that, and ask that you guys take into consideration possibly reinstating those permits until spring, and then work with the citizens, take the winter, and come up with a set of standards for the camping permits, so that no one has to relocate this winter when we don't really have the funds.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other public comment?
Hi, I just want to say
Name for the record, please.
I'm Robin Rutan, and I moved out here about 5 years ago. We've got a manufactured home out off of Highway 142. We buy our water. I have 2 miles of highway cleanup, and my husband is Navajo. He's full-blooded Navajo, and he has dreams of making a cultural bed and breakfast by building a hogan on the adjacent land with a bathhouse. I guess the biggest thing I want to say is if the planning committee or the commission doesn't believe everything they hear about us out on the prairie, then we won't believe everything that people say about San Luis, because I have lots of friends here and I enjoy this town. And I am glad to be part of the community. Thank you.
Any other public comment?
I'm Daniella Lambert, and I just want to touch up a little bit
But as far as the homeless shelter goes, because that's where I work, and we can't house more than maybe 80 people at the most, meaning half of them sleeps on the floor. The thing is, some of these people that live out here on these properties, even if they have to leave, they have no way of leaving. They can afford to leave, they can afford the gas to leave the properties. And middle of the winter, they might just probably die there, or unless maybe Red Cross would be involved or FEMA involved to helping these people if they are driven out of their properties. Because they wouldn't even be able to make it to homeless shelter. And if you have hundreds of them, there's nowhere to put them. That's all I wanted to say.
Public comment. We'll move on to our next item, general business. Christina Gallegos.
Good morning, how are you this morning?
Fine, thank you.
I am here to give you an update on the Sangre de Cristo National Heritage Area. And I distributed a request letter to Ben this morning so that you all have a letter at your desk with the Heritage Area's request for funding for 2016. In that letter, you will see how the funding was distributed in 2015. And if you'll turn to that second page, you'll see the Costilla County projects that we have funded, or projects that affected Costilla County. There are 7 projects in 2015 that we funded that affected Costilla County. Our funding was a little bit more than $50,000 for those 7 projects. But those projects also came to the table with matching funds. So just a little primer on our program, our Heritage Grant Program. When you apply for a grant from us, you have to be a nonprofit agency. And you have to be working on preservation, whether it's a building or a cultural event or oral histories. But you also have to come to the table with matching grants, which is how we are able to fund so many projects throughout the valley, at least the 3 counties. And those projects within Costilla County came to the table with $185,000, almost $186,000 in matching funds. And I'll give you a chance to look at the other 2 counties' information as well. In 2014, we finished our management plan in 13, and so that meant that in 2014, our funding through the Department of Interior was increased from $149,000 a year to $300,000 a year. And that $300,000 has to be matched by community, the matching grants that the groups come to us with. And so I also had Ben send you our PowerPoint presentation with the 2014 information. But because we don't have a projector here, I'm going to show you what those are. You should all have those in your email box this morning. So our accomplishments for 2014, we hired 2 additional staff, both part-time staff, 1 marketing person who was a recent graduate from out of state university, and a part-time administrative assistant who has been helping us get our books together, be more organized, better understand what our relationship is to the Department of Interior, and making sure that all of our documentation is provided for that funding that we received from the feds. We also had our fundraiser here in San Luis in April at Centennial Schools. And then we show you a little bit about the breakdown of our funding. This part right here is all of the money that we awarded in 2014. This larger piece is our administrative or operating costs. These are our payroll liabilities. And then marketing, all of those other things that help us to do our work. This graph shows you the amount of money that we awarded. That's a skinny piece of pie on the pie chart. The larger piece of pie is the amount of money that we received in matching funds. And in 2014, we received over $3 million in matching funds from the projects that received grants from us. We also have this broken down by county in 14, how many grants went to each county, how much of that matching fund was appropriated for each of those three counties. This graph shows you the distribution of matching funds and support that is awarded to us through the counties. So the large yellow piece of pie is what we receive from the federal, from the Department of Interior, and then each of these smaller pies are the counties. And I see that Costilla is one of the larger contributors to the heritage area. What you don't see here is the in-kind money that Conejos contributes for an office space, which puts them comparable to the Costilla contribution. Show you a few of the projects that we worked on in 2014. This is the Alamosa Boys and Girls Club. We provided about $5,000 for the interior landscaping of that project, and that greenhouse helps to teach the youth in Alamosa that are a Boys and Girls Club about growing vegetables. Here's the Costilla project, the Nazario Gallegos house, which we have been helping with the identifying some of the work that needs to be done, the assessment of the infrastructure, and the next portion of that project will be to actually do some of the renovations to make sure that that building continues to stand. Local Foods and the Rio Grande Healthy Living Park received $25,000 from us. Conejos County Tourism Association received money to rehabilitate the Fred Haberline murals. Some of you may have seen that those murals have been worked on last summer and this summer. He just recently completed the mural in La Jera over the Valdez law offices. Here's one that did some work in Costilla County. The Southwest Conservation Corps had 2 groups of youth that were employed and did work in Alamosa, Conejos, and Costilla counties. Canta al Pueblo received funding for the entertainment for Santana Days. Fort Garland Museum has received some funding to produce a documentation of the Japanese community that was located in Fort Garland and Blanca, and that project is just about to be finished and will be on display at the Fort Garland Museum. Colorado Open Lands purchased a conservation easement on the Culebra Creek Ranch. That had a large amount of match, over $655,000 of a match came with that. Adams State University, this also affects Costilla County in a way because Fort Massachusetts is located in Costilla County. Although we give Alamosa a little bit of credit because it's Adams State that applies for the funding. Now this is one of those success stories that I want to share with you. The field school had been coming to us for funding for the last 3 years. And last year they were able to secure a long-term grant through the Moore Charitable Foundation of $50,000 over the next 10 years. So they know that they will have funding to continue to do that excavation and to find the information out about Fort Massachusetts over the next 10 years via the Moore Charitable Trust. We also contributed funding to the documentary on Colorado water called The Great Divide, which will be showing this Saturday at Adams State University for free. This documentary identifies how water is used, where water comes from, for those Colorado citizens that may not know that we are the headwaters. And we are one of the only 2 states trying to educate people about our water and how it's appropriated. One of only 2 states that the water does not come into. Hawaii and Colorado are the only 2 states where all our water leaves us. Right? We're a headwater state.
80%.
80%. Local Foods Coalition received funding to do their Seeds of Learning classes at the farmers markets. They also do a Cooking Matters class for local residents to teach them how to prepare foods and how to save on foods. Rio Grande Headwaters Land Trust did a conservation easement on the Rainbow Trout Lodge in Conejos County. That also came with over $1 million match, $1,740,000. We support the Congreso, the Sangre de Cristo Congreso a Seca Congreso that happens every year, that just happened this last weekend.
Excuse me,
Mhm.
did they finally get that matter funded?
Yes.
Good.
San Luis Valley Ecosystem Council did a documentary. They're documenting the wilderness that exists within the San Luis Valley, both by understanding how that wilderness was acquired and then making those presentations to local schools so that we are passing that information, that knowledge on to our students. And then the last grant we funded in 2014 was the Rio Grande Watershed Conservation and Education Project. It was the Envirathon project. And I'm very proud that we were able to give funding to that project because it helped get our high school students out into the field documenting information about our ecosystems, macroinvertebrates, what kinds of plants are out there, and then those students actually participated in a statewide event where they were competing against each other. Then we had 2 groups that went to nationals, and one of those groups was from Sierra Grande. The person who led that group shared some information with me about those students from Sierra Grande. The boys, there were 3 young boys who, I believe they were freshmen at Sierra Grande, who'd never had an opportunity to do public speaking. And it was their public speaking and the information that they shared with their peers that got them 3rd place in the national competition. So as you can see, we've been moving quite well in trying to distribute our funding to local nonprofit organizations that are doing preservation. One of the other things that we've done in 2015 was we've held a workshop for individuals who are interested in starting businesses that are connected to tourism. We did this in February. We're hoping to have another workshop this Saturday in our offices in Alamosa to help people understand what that opportunity is, where the gaps exist, and to find assistance through the Small Business Development Office in Alamosa. We partner with them to deliver this program. So I'm open for any questions that you might have about the heritage area and how we're maybe using your funding, your support that you give to us.
This watershed is in dire need of a watershed study. We've had preliminaries done, but we always seem to run out of money at the end of it, and we don't get a consolidated watershed plan for watershed restoration and protection. And my question is, do we, because I'm on the board.
Right. Could the county apply for a grant?
Well, what about the Conservancy District?
The Conservancy District could apply for a grant from us in order to make that study, complete that study, and then look at how you could implement the findings from that study to make sure that your watershed was intact, that you're doing restoration along its shorelines, the riparian corridor, and to make sure that the water that we're getting into it isn't contaminated.
That's what we're looking at. So, because Conservancy's auspices is that type of deal with watershed and watershed protection and flooding. I was wondering if that'd probably be the ideal route to go for that.
It probably would be the ideal group to request funding for a watershed study in your county.
Well,
You're talking about Culebra Creek?
Yes, sir. Yes, and I'll recommend to the, I think she's back there, one of the Conservancy District Board members, if they would, the reason is because with the watershed study, we're able to go to the round table, get more money for projects, and it's much simpler once we know, and they're.
Once you have the data.
Yes, and so that's where we're trying to get to, that point.
Great. Well, one of the things that we've been able to do, having additional administrative assistance, is put ourselves on a cycle that's constructive with the Department of Interior funding. So we were a little bit all over the place, having 2 rounds of grants in the same year as our funding. But what we've been able to implement this year is we did a round of grants on September 1st in anticipation for 2016 funding. that enables us to create our budget and get our funding through the Department of Interior, knowing what the requests are going to be in the year prior to receiving that funding. So our next round of grants, we may, once we've identified all of those who are receiving funding, we may have another small round at the beginning of the year before June. And I'll make sure that the Conservancy knows it when that grant deadline is. But we will definitely be having our 2017 round in September of 2016. That way we know and can anticipate what the request for funding will be.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Well, I just remember when we started the whole heritage area, that was one of the things we were looking at as possible protection by using the heritage area for some of these riparian and watershed studies. So, good job. I know she did some up in Pinellas County. A lot of work there for them. So.
Yeah, and this, in 2015, we did fund the Rio Grande Restoration Group to do the last leg of the Rio Grande. I'm doing a study on that last leg, because they've done almost all the way up, I think, into San Acacio in that area, but the last leg is where they don't have any data. And so trying to make decisions based on that data is the next best way to move in that direction.
Good job.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Now, I apologize, I'm interested
I'll be out there in a
in
minute.
paper, I don't have enough packets, so
Alright.
I can also email our PowerPoints, our different case management notes, anything you need. So that's just kind of a basic packet. My name is Ansary Vargas. I am the outreach specialist for Pinellas County Clean Water. We're a non-profit 501c3 environmental protection agency in Pinellas County. You might have heard of us from Mike Mentra. He's been doing a lot of this stuff with the cleanup, the illegal dump sites in Costilla County and also Pinellas County. The initiative that I'm going to speak to you about today is Rio Grande del Norte. And what I'm going to talk to you about is the expansion area. So on the first page of the map we have the map. In 2013, 242,000 acres of land in New Mexico were designated a national monument called the Rio Grande del Norte. It encompasses the Taos Gorge, Cuesta, Chispeadas, all this area in here. Now what the proposal is expanding the national monument into Pinellas County, which would start at the New Mexico state line, which is Puncha Valley, and would go, the BLM land, which would go all the way to Flat Top, which is approximately 82,000 acres, 82,560 acres of land up there. So this is a little bigger map, and I apologize, I should have given you this map also. So it starts here at Puncha. It includes like Pinon Hills, Pike Stockade, the bridge, the Rio Grande Bridge, all the way to Flat Top. The only two areas of preservation in this BLM land are the Pinon Hills, which is considered a wilderness study area, Flat Top, which is considered an ACEC, an area of critical and environmental concern. Now the proposal is complete preservation, which means for traditional uses, which means everything in the area would stay the same. The hunting, the fishing, the tags, the permits for cattle grazing, everything would stay the same. The thing that would change would be the mineral extraction rights. So if the proposal goes through and the national monument is expanded into this area, the land can no longer be sold or bought for any type of mineral extraction. No more mining, no more fracking, no more drilling. Anything that is already established in the land out here would be grandfathered. So I know Mr. Cordova owns the King's Mine now. There are private lands out here. So anything that is already established within this area would be grandfathered. Private lands, anything that's already established would keep their mineral rights. It would just, the mineral rights would no longer be available to the rest of the public for, like I said, to be bought or sold for mineral extraction. It would just include the rest of the public lands. Also, in the packet I included just kind of our newsletter, and this is the one we talk about because the proposal is not only preserving the area for traditional uses such as the cattle grazing, the hunting, but also for the cultural history, for the preservation of like the Loboto's Bridge, which is also a historical landmark, Kiowa Hill, which is of Native American history. It goes back to the Kiowa and the Utes. There's petroglyphs out there by the Loboto's Bridge, which date back to Kiowa, Ute, Pequot tribes. Now, I know I'm in Costilla County, so one of the questions might be, well, why am I here presenting? What are the interests in Costilla County? Well, in the map, the designated area of expansion area is adjacent to Costilla County. The only thing that separates Costilla County from the proposed area is the Rio Grande. So when it comes in terms of issues such as water, in the proclamation by the president for the Rio Grande del Norte in New Mexico, it does not affect any of the water. So in cases of water, like on the Costilla County side, the high water mark would not be affected for any private landowners. The Rio Grande Compact would not be affected. So the proposal does not include any of the water. It does not affect the water in any way. Also in the packet I included, we have so much stuff, we have PowerPoints, we have case studies, but what I did include in the packet was our economic impact stats, because a lot of times people tell me, well, what would be the benefits of expanding a national monument? Well, as you know, our number one income here in the San Luis Valley is of course agricultural, second is tourism. So on the economic impacts on the first page, this was the economic impacts for Rio Grande del Norte in New Mexico. So the first number is of course pre-designation, which on the numbers and they calculate this by the, the lodging tax in New Mexico. So it's divided up into biking, boating, camping, but as a whole, pre-designation was 17 million, and like I said, that's from lodging tax. Now on the second page is post-designation. So the number, this was taken, they started taking these numbers in 2013. So in a little less than 2 years, it's gone up to 32 million. And national stats show that post-designation of a national monument will increase tourism by 10 to 25%. On this, however, I don't know if it's because, it encompasses it's more acreage, bigger area, why the jump in tourism, but the national stats show 10 to 25% increase in tourism. So our hope is that, of course, the stats show the increase in tourism, but not just for Pinellas County, but for Costilla County. Let's see. Taxes, everybody asks me about taxes. Designation of a national monument will not increase any property taxes, property value for surrounding areas, so it will not increase any type of property taxes, property values in Costilla County or Pinellas County. We would still get the PILT, Pinellas County would still get the PILTs every year from the federal land, from the BLM. Let's see, sorry, going back and forth. I also have, included in the packet was because Costilla County is the adjacent county to the expansion area, I'm starting my outreach here in Costilla County and talking to local business owners, talking to some residents, I presented to the board of Acequias. I'm on an agenda for the town board meeting. So what we're doing is we're just kind of gathering support letters, seeing how Costilla County would feel about being adjacent to a national monument if it's designated. So in the packet I include just the letters that I kind of tweaked. So they say I'm a Costilla County resident adjacent to the proposed BLM land. So what I'm doing here today is basically just for informational purposes, presenting to respective board members. But also asking if you have, for support of the national monument. So if you feel that it'd be beneficial to Costilla County, to Pinellas County, for the national monument to be declared, it does not need the support of surrounding areas are not required to be in support of it for us to get the national monument. But as an agency, as a Valley resident, we feel that it's needed for the support of Costilla County, because you are the adjacent county, and the national monument would affect Costilla County residents and so forth. So that's why I'm here. So does anybody have any questions?
What do you commissioners say about this? Are they united on this, or what are the major
You know, Costilla County I found is pretty, I mean, they're for the national monument, because they do say, well, Pinellas County is, we're fortunate to have public lands, and you know, if it could increase tourism, it might increase tourism this way. You know, that's what some of the local business owners are saying. So it just kind of depends on how the outreach goes in Costilla County. Because in Pinellas County, what we do is it's based on constituency. So I go to all the local residents and talk to them. I go house to house. I get chased by dogs a lot. But I do. I go to all the residents, and then from there we go town board members, county commissioners. So it's the levels of municipality, of course. And then after we get support from Pinellas, Costilla County, then it goes to the congressman, and then from there it goes to the president. So it takes a while. So
I'm just wondering, have they stated anything about this? Have you presented this to them?
well, I just started the outreach in Costilla, basically. So I mean, when I presented to the Sounias, the board, they're still deliberating on a letter of support, because what I do is when I present to board members such as yourselves and county commissioners, we ask for a letter of support, basically stating, okay, where Costilla County is in support of the national monument. Because not only do we need resident support, small business, but we also need board members, we need commissioners, we need everybody to be on board, basically, for this national monument expansion to be designated. So if the residents or the town board members or anybody is against it, then we have to know, well, you know, this many residents, the constituency says this, Costilla County says this, and we put it into a database, and then when it goes before Congress, it's, you know, it's deliberated.
Why would they be against it? I mean, I'd see this as something positive for us, but, I mean, do they see a negative in it?
What the negative that they find is when you mention the mineral rights. That's the basic part that a lot of, you know, not a lot, I guess I should say, few residents are struggling with. You know, they see the mineral rights as being taken away from the public. But when we say, you know, it's for preservation of the land, I mean, for preservation of the water, riparian areas are essential for watersheds. You know, we're looking at the bigger picture. So when you explain, you know, this is the bigger picture, because they say, oh, well, you know, we need fracking to come in, and it's like, well, no, you know, you have to explain. There's a lot of misconceptions about the boom and crash. It's, you know, for a while it's really good, and then it crashes, you know, so this is a way to get steady income from tourism, you know, over the years, instead of just like the boom and crash just coming right away. So when I find that when we actually do have a lot of support from Pinellas County residents. I've gone around to Antonito and all the outlying areas and received a letter of support from the board members of the town of Antonito. Also, Romeo is on board, the residents and the town board members. I also received a letter of support. I've gone to CAP. I'm starting outreach in the Hada, which we have a good support system in the Hada also. Constituents are for preservation. I have not started in Sanford or Manassas, because how many residents there are. You don't realize how big the counties are until you have to go house to house, especially in the outlying areas, because Antonito includes, I mean, it's just not Antonito, it's all the outlying areas, Ortiz, San Miguel, I mean, you have Cañon, you have Moguate, you have, and then all the houses in between, and then Cap. I mean, it's not just the little town, it's this road and Carmel and all the way to Waverly. So it's yeah, it's a lot of houses. But we're finding that we are getting a lot of support for it. But we also, like I said, we also need support from Costilla County.
And what about New Mexico? Are they, you get a lot of push from them to help out, or?
Yeah, well, I attend friends meetings in Taos, and they say that if, you know, if we need anything, that they're in support of it, of course. I have a man there by the name of Arminio Martinez, and he was one of the pushers. He was one of the main ones for the Rio Grande del Norte. He's a cattle grazer that has 3 allotments on the Rio Grande del Norte, and he was one of the main ones that was in support of the National Monument. So he helps out a lot, and I know he attends the Sounias here, and he also attended the Congreso this weekend. We all attend. So support from New Mexico is good. They find that the National Monument has benefited them. You know, they were in support of the National Monument for preserving their traditional uses. They didn't want people to come in and frack or drill or, take away their lands, their allotments for the cattle grazing for, they not only cattle graze, they cattle graze sheep, they cattle graze, the cattle, of course. For the hunting, they're also avid hunters, just like out here in Punche, where the seasonal hunters are, where they get their tags. So they're.
Question in the back.
I have a statement. I actually have been in communication with the executive director of the Northern Rio Grande Heritage Area, and they would like to see the monument expanded. They are working closely with that group as well.
Thank you. Questions? No, we have, like I said, we have PowerPoints, we have different things, and around here, I try to take my laptops because of Wi-Fi and limited connectivity in the valley. You have to do paper. But if you'd like more information, I do have the PowerPoints. We do have more the economic stats. This is 26 pages. In the interest of saving trees, I didn't print them all out. But I have everything on the Google Drive. So if you have any questions, I have my business card in the packets. I'll be in contact. You can discuss amongst yourselves if you'd like to provide a support letter from Costilla County saying, commissioners, we are commissioners and we are in support of the expansion of the National Monument. And I can also, like I said, include any of the maps. We have that all on our Google Drive. So I can get your email address, send you all this.
Letter.
It's basically up to respective board members. I have one from Romeo that she's still working on it. So it's just time, I know in the interest of time, it just depends on each. It'll take a while to go around, so if you'd like to deliberate and talk amongst yourselves or see how you feel about a letter of support, that's fine, and then just let me know.
The reason I ask is, your home county is the one that's gonna be affected the most, and that's why I wanted an opinion from there, what the negatives are, but just from your presentation, I just see positive. And, if that's the only thing, the mineral issue, I'd like to support this project myself.
Thank you.
I have another question.
I just wanted to ask if individual residents would like to send letters of support, is there an email address or something we could send that to?
Yeah, well, I also have resident letters. We have on our website, it's ConnesCountyCleanWater.org.
Okay.
We also at the CCCW.org, we have letters of support on there that you can sign. I also have letters of support with me, so if you
Excellent.
for Canales County residents, I like I said, I carry everything. So if you are in support, you can also
So-
sign a letter.
Only Canales County residents can sign letters of
We
support?
have many people. We have people from Alamosa signing. We have Costilla County. We have any residents. Oh,
I'd like to thank you for your,
thank you.
for your wanting to come down here and talk to us about this. I think it actually is a very good situation that we're working on. And I'd like to move that we support this project and do that through this board so that we can move as fast as we possibly can on it and do what needs to be done.
Thank you.
Before I second that, I'd like to ask one more question, if it's possible. Is that possible?
Yeah.
It's not gonna affect your PILT money or any of this?
No. PILT, we still get the PILT every year, same amount.
That's,
Yeah.
we don't get any PILT. $200?
No. $50, you get a couple dollars, maybe.
Less than 100.
But when we go to conferences, all I hear is pill.
Yeah, it does not affect the PILT of Canales County at all.
Okay, so yeah, because those guys would really freak
Yeah.
out if they got their pill cut.
They'd be really upset, no.
I'll second that. Good project.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Do you have a template or anything that you can send me, or do you want me to just?
It's right here.
Oh, you have, it's in the
Letter
packet?
here.
Okay,
Yeah,
I'll be the one that put the letter together, so.
thank you.
Shake it. It's okay.
Oh, yeah. You can actually just put it all together.
item, Antonio Villarreal, resident San Acacio.
Yes, ma'am, how you doing?
Maureen.
We have a letter that we practice in condition.
You guys need a break? No?
But, this is not a matter that you take it in open meeting. This is the common that is coming.
Let's find out the spot first.
Mr. Gallegos, Ms. Burns, Mr. Pacheco, and Attorney Loboto, Mr. Dune. I'm here representing a few people in the community of Old San Acacio. Present is Mr. Greg Cabrera, Mr. Jaques, and Maria Jaques is not here. I'm gonna go over a couple of things before we go out, just tell you where I am and who I've been, and it'll get to sort of, get me to the point of what we expected from this issue and everything. I'll read it verbatim, actually. My name is Antonio Villarreal. I live in Old San Acacio at 13369 Old County Road 15, right next to the old schoolhouse. And my property is adjacent right next to the water towers out there. I'm a civil servant, just like most of you guys are. I've been working for the Army, United States Army, and the government for 42 years. This November, coming November. In 2014, when I returned from my 4th deployment to the Middle East, working as a logistics representative, I had just come back from assisting all the military units in Kuwait after we came out of Iraq and everything. My job was to help all the soldiers, Marines, anybody that was out there with technical assistance. I'm a technician by trade on tanks, trucks, and everything. If it's broken and they don't know how to fix it, I can go over there and I can get it running for them. I've been through a lot of schools and everything in the Army, 24 years active duty, and the rest technical training from the government. A lot of complex equipment, new and old. While in the military part of it, I learned that to execute a job, okay, you gotta have a plan. And that's where all what I learned comes about. I saw many scheduled route clearances in Iraq and in Afghanistan get canceled because all the plans that were being made didn't fall into where we didn't have everything set up right, or something didn't go right, so we had to cancel it. This, of course, prevented somebody from getting killed, equipment, from being lost and everything. And this leads to the fire at San Acacio. It was started by Mr. Tommy Rodriguez that works for the Water Sanitation Department. And I believe that the plan to burn was not done properly, okay? It might have been scheduled, but there was no plan. In some of the photos that I'm gonna be giving you later on, you'll see that right next to the fence where the burn was supposed to occur, there's still a lot of dry grass and everything that wasn't cleared out before they started the fire, number one. Number two, there was no fire department on right there sitting there in case something did happen. And number three, windy day. If there was a fire department there, I'm sure that they would have said, Tommy, bad idea. Don't start the fire, okay? It might get out of hand, okay?
I'm not sure, if any cleaning of the weeds, like I said, was done because of what's in the pictures. But I'm about to tell you the things that I've talked to people out there, the people that were there, and Mrs. Hawkins is not here. This is what I got from all these people out there. Mrs. Hawkins noticed the excessive amount of smoke coming by her house. She came out and ran to see the fire area, which was still small. She asked Tommy Rodriguez what was going on, and he said that the fire got out of hand. Him and Andrew Hill were busy trying to put out the fires, stomping out the fire and using shovels and everything to throw dirt on it. Right then as she was talking to him, another big gust of wind came by and the fire took off. She saw that it had taken off. It was getting to Jeffrey's little storage houses and gallinero that he had out there, you know, and she ran around and ran to Greg's house, was yelling for Greg
Excuse
to
me,
stop. Yes,
Mr.
ma'am.
Miller, so are you asking for something at this in regards to that, what happened, that incident?
Yes, ma'am, at the end, we're gonna be,
Because I believe that the claim has already been.
The claim has been submitted to our carrier. The carrier says, Tommy's not your employee, he's not under your direction or supervision. We are not gonna, they've denied any coverage.
what I got from Mr. Doon, sir, was that Mr. Doon said that they had to prove negligence. I just left the sheriff's office, and Mr. Soto plainly said to me, he was the sheriff on station with the ambulance, said, I have no problem going and making a statement in court about
Well,
negligence.
perhaps that's really the place where it should be.
Okay, so that's what we're trying to prevent,
Well,
Mr.
when I
Loboto.
spoke with you last year about this, there was some direction that the county might talk about governmental immunity. And that's where the negligence comes in. And that was what we spoke last year about that. I don't know if they, it sounds like if they submitted it to the
There's
carrier.
been extensive communication between the county and our liability carrier. Our liability carrier wrote our chief financial officer and indicated they did not see any liability. So that's
On behalf of the county, so, you know, because I wrote Mr. Darrell Garcia from the water sanitation, he told me that because it was county property, that it was a county issue. So between you guys and the water sanitation
I
department.
don't know if Mr. Garcia is giving legal advice, but I've already advised the commissioners, I've advised you, and I advised our carrier about our stance on it. And I don't see any liability in the county. I hate to give you legal advice in open session, but this is not the forum to discuss the county's liability. It would be in a court of law.
I'm just trying to get the facts out there, sir. Because I don't know if everybody knows all the facts. In fact,
But like council just said, you know, right now, this is not the place for us to be discussing this. I think if it were to go
okay,
any
well,
further,
I think
it
that
would
once
have
you
to
see
be
the
a court
pictures,
issue.
and with 6 fire engines out there, this wasn't a small matter.
And we're not saying.
And I know you're talking about liability, so this is what we'll do, okay? We were trying to keep it from going to the courts, but if that's what's required, and we waste government money and funds, okay, that we pay as taxpayers to win a case in court, whether from the sanitation department or whatever, then that's what we'll do. So, we were working with Jim Meserat. He can't be here today because he's in North Dakota. A friend of his had some medical issues and brought him back. Mr. Meserat left Mr. Doon a message, he never got a call back.
I never
on the
received
issue.
a message.
Okay.
You never called me. You called me on my cell phone.
Okay.
I never received
And
a message.
he told me that he did that. He has talked to us about now going the legal route. And with all the number of people that were out there, the fire department guys, the sheriff, the ambulance people, the sheriff, Mr. Soto told me this morning, you know what, I have no problem saying that it was negligence because he shouldn't even started the fire. The wind was blowing real hard. So, if that's where we're gonna end up with this, that's fine, sir. Thank you for your time, the time that you guys have given me. In that packet, and I'll give this to you, sir. And I'll give you a disc that I have.
Tony, though, is that my folder?
That's part of your folder,
Yeah,
sir.
no,
The brown one.
I need to make copies of that.
Okay, excuse me. All right. If you're willing to accept the paperwork that Mr. Hawkins is gonna give you later on, that's fine, whether you take it or not. Mr. Doon, who do you want us to give it to, Mr. Doon? Okay? The thing is, folks, that, again, it's gonna be our tax money at work and getting spent for something that obviously was negligence, and somewhere, somebody is gonna have to take care of this for the people involved. I personally, to tell you the truth, this is the second time it's happened to me with the Water Sanitation Department. 4 or 5 years ago, a pipe busted, nobody notified us. They got underneath my structure right there in Old San Acacio. Nobody called, said there was the water main broke. Out of my pocket, I took care of fixing my floor. I took Tommy personally when he was coming by, and we discovered that. And Irvin was there, Hawkins and Cooper were there. I went and showed him the floor. My foot went right through the floor. And it was because that water hit there. I didn't make that an issue either. The thing is that a lot of things are happening in the little communities, especially like San Acacio, and people aren't being notified of this, and the organizations, I guess, that work within the county are not fessing up to the problems that there is, or something that they did wrong.
Well, it was submitted, and it was submitted to our carrier, and we did get results back from the carrier, so that's kind of where we're at with it, so.
Okay,
Okay.
so, what I'll do is I'll get USAA to get a hold of somebody, because that's who my insurance carrier is. I'll let my insurance carrier work with it. Mr. Hawkins and Greg can work with Mr. Mesrak and file their petitions or whatever in court. Thank you for your time. That disc shows all the pictures of the fire, actually more than what is there, sir. And I'll give this back to Mr. Cabrera and to Mr. Hawkins, and tell them to, get a hold of Mr. Mesrak or whomever and take care of this issue for him. Because obviously, when things like this happen, nobody wants to take care of it.
Next item on the agenda,
Yeah, this right.
Gemma? Is it for the Randall?
Gemma, are you here? No? And Tommy has sent me a message that he's got a whole lot going on. All he had was reports and certifications, and he cannot make it over. He'll deliver those reports to you at another time.
Next item, executive session, staffing issue. A motion to go into executive session?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
And the statute
And
number
then going into executive session.
246402. Is she?
Is she back? No, might as well just get over it, huh?
Okay, so, Do you have a motion to reconvene from executive session?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Let the record reflect that no decisions or actions were taken in executive session. Well, we'll go back to Gemma.
Yes.
Difford and Nando.
Yes. Hello. Hi, I'm here.
Hi.
Come on up.
Come
Oh, great. Yes, I'd love to.
CV, email, description of the project and so on.
When did you send that one?
Yes.
I didn't get your stuff yesterday.
I didn't see it.
Nice to meet you all. I'm Gemma.
Joe Gallegos.
Joe Gallegos, nice to meet you. Good to see you.
Dolores Burns.
Dolores Burns, nice to see you.
Lawrence Pacheco.
Lawrence Pacheco, nice to see you. Good to see you. Ijan Dean Place, nice to see you. Good to see you.
Thank you.
And Dune, thank you so much for putting me on the agenda today. Hi, well, my name is Gemma. I'm the founder and president of Luminiti Earth Native Sanctuary NAC. We started establishing ourselves about 4 years ago, and we became a charitable nonprofit in January 2014. What we do is we integrate, provide guidance in traditional cultures through circles and ceremonies, growing food, animals. We have an equine therapy program, a youth arts and music program, a circles and ceremonies program, and as well as one of the programs, Grow Food Now, which is one of the main reasons why I'm here. So one of the products that I currently make is a hemp hero bar, and we sell it at SIDS. I only have 3, so maybe pass them around, and then if y'all want to open them and try them, they're awesome. Right now, our main sanctuary is located in Taos, New Mexico, and that's where we're mostly set up right now. We want to. Is it okay if I sit here? Sure. So here. Thank you. And this is actually. This was just a recent article done on us at the Hemp Connoisseur magazine, actually, and this shows some of our sanctuary, pictures of some of our sanctuary space, which we have a 2-acre sanctuary space right now in Taos, New Mexico, where we run our programs for the children. We're not growing ingredients there right now. We're just doing stuff like circles and ceremonies and children's arts and music and stuff. And then we educate people how to eat hemp in their daily lives and things like that. But we were looking. We want to grow all the ingredients that's in our hemp bar, and we do the almond butter. So we want to greenhouse almond trees. So we could create our almond butter, and then grow fields of sunflowers, create our sunflower seed butter, and then create more honey. Even though we do support Simply Honey, a local company, and as well as we support a gluten-free oat company, which is a Golden Prairie Oats, none in Colorado. But anyways, we want to grow more ingredients here, and so. Right now, I have you all and see if you will be up to be our fiscal agent. And we're going to be getting grants for greenhousing and growing ingredients and such for create more jobs. And then hopefully also create jobs for other local farmers that have land and would like to grow ingredients for us.
I haven't read.
Well, right now correct me if I'm wrong, so you're working with Mariana King out of Mar Vista. So she's the one I've been in touch with in the beginning. Mariana had told me about this route. Mariana is a grant writer located in the valley, and she specifically, at least with her communications with me, identified a specific USDA grant that they'd be looking for. I forget how to do with the marketing plan and the website, but it's all reimbursable. It was about a $20,000 grant, I believe. So they're looking for, I mentioned the EDC, but Mariana knew, the EDC doesn't really have $20,000 to put up front. Mariana said they write an 8% administrative fee that will go to the county if they're willing to be the fiscal sponsor. The grant deadline is January 29th for the specific.
So it's a reimbursable grant? It's not
it's USDA, yeah, so it's reimbursable.
Oh, they're all reimbursable?
Yeah, pretty much. Almost everybody these days, except for nonprofit.
Even the grant? Even if it's a grant?
Yeah, you got it right. You got to send in your invoice, proof of payment, and then they pay it back.
Almost every government grant is like that.
Where is your 501 out of?
New Mexico.
Where at in Mexico?
Taos, New Mexico.
Dallas.
Uh-huh.
So are you gonna be doing work here, or
Mm-hmm.
like,
Yes, we have an opportunity, I have an opportunity right now to invest in a 22-acre property with grandfather water rights. And so, yeah, we'd like to grow ingredients here, as well as we like to do a children's youth and music program for the high school where, we're like, you know, helping kids make like more movies with YouTube and how like folk songs and hip hop, and, you know, add some like, you know, some of their traditional roots into it and such.
And was it, do you have that email from you? Was it 20,000?
Yeah, it's right here.
Was it 20,000 that Mariana mentioned?
20,000.
Yeah. I think she said.
But, so we would be managing the grant though.
we would be coming up with 20,000
Right.
up front, but then we get reimbursed on it.
Yeah, and plus you said, Mariana told me they write in, 8%, so the county would get 8% of the grant for the administrative work that we would do.
And we've done this before with, back in the old days, doing that kind of stuff and helping out with the administration of it. Like we give a little bit over here to the chief, and others, like that were involved with the grant.
I know that you take up a lot of the grants, and I know that you have a lot of open grants right now that you're really busy with. And I don't know if another one's enough,
What about, you said EDC, what if you give money to them somehow, and they get reimbursed? Reimburse us, and that way we don't have to, I mean, they're in the business of managing that anyway. And that's their business, is to sponsor grants.
I know, that's why I brought them in
So I
first.
I don't necessarily think that's our business, but they could use the 8%, they could, or that, but it's our money, right? So we got. I just wonder if we can put money over there to help them get this thing going and get our money back, and then just let them do it.
how soon is this, do they need?
It's due January 29th, Mariana told me, so there's a little bit of time. Yeah, I don't know if, if the EDC still has their employee over there, and with the 8%, we can get the EDC employee to do it, and that 8% could supplement her income. We just have to figure out a way, is there a way that then the EDC can kind of bill us, I don't know how that would go from her Jen's group to the EDC to us to get, the checks cut down the line and be, adding another hurdle in there. But I did briefly talk with Bob about it. And, that was, there's one concern was, well, we don't have $20,000 to.
No, they don't, but it's just money out there, it's gonna come back, so it's not like you're giving them money.
What's the 501c3 under, what's the organization, what is the mission, what's the?
It's integrating and providing guidance in traditional cultures through ceremonies, music, educating self-sustainability, growing food, working with horses. Yeah, we have 8 horses in our equine therapy program right now in town. Yeah, we got 2 cart pullers and a wagon, and we're about to do a parade this weekend on the Pueblo. Kids at the Luna Art Center.
I'd like to talk to Julie about this before we make any
And we've
decision.
done some stuff with Julie where she do this, so it's not an old
But,
concept.
even where she's gonna get the $20,000 from upfront, or.
Well, you're not gonna have to, it'll probably be off and on, right? 'Cause you get
But I think she
reimbursed.
still needs to appropriate it somewhere.
That's true.
So I'd like to talk to her first before we make any decision.
Yeah, but I don't want to throw this whole idea out the window.
No, I mean, they have some time. I've been in touch with Mariana. I haven't actually met her, but I've been in touch with her over the years on a variety of issues, so she knows how to get a hold of me. I think, like you said, unfortunately, she had a death in the family recently, so she's been out of town. She wanted to attend today. But she has some time, and, I thought it was, she obviously knows what she's doing when she proposed this with an administrative fee for the county, so, or whoever, whether it goes to the EDC, but at least, they're not asking for, for free, if they write that into the grant. And if we could find a way to make a appropriate the money in next year's budget and then find a way to tie in the EDC, I think that would be ideal.
I think that's what we should try to attempt. So we have a little bit of time, so if we can keep in touch with Brianna.
I'm sorry, Jen, if you don't know, the EDC I keep referring to, it's called the Costilla County Economic Development Council. And they're a 501c3 that was established in 1987. And they've been fiscal sponsors for a lot of nonprofit groups here in the county, more so than the county government itself. But the issue is with the reimbursable grant, that, they have a little bare bones budget and they don't have the $20,000 to lay out to get reimbursed. So that's the conversation that Mariana and I have had. Is there a way to tie in the EDC, because this falls a little bit more along their mission of supporting other nonprofits, but we understand that somebody's got to put the money up front to get reimbursed, and the county is typically in the best position to do that.
Yeah.
I just want to throw something out there. I mean, could the county just loan the EDC the money?
That's kind of what we need to talk with. Julie's our financial officer. That's what we kind of need to figure out. Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Yeah,
Is there
yeah.
a way to make that work?
And they're
We'll
in
get the
the
money and then they pay us back.
And then they're also in the process now of putting together a community kitchen that would actually fit really well into some of that stuff.
We make our bars right now the TCDC. So
That's actually a model
That
that
was the model.
Oh, that's great.
looked at, and EDC is actually in the process of redoing this
that's really good.
facility. So I think that would be a good connection there and a good way of researching that and seeing how that might be able to work.
Yeah, we'd love to make them here too. That's a whole job. Like, we were making them in Longmont, but then we brought them down to Taos Public because we have family down there. We wanted to create more jobs for our family.
Well, we want to create more jobs here too, so that will work well for us.
Yeah, it's right behind the bank. There's a white building that's being redone. It used to be a museum. It's being redone as a heritage center, and they just received a $300,000 grant to turn a portion of that building into a community kitchen.
Oh, that's so great. Congratulations. That's so exciting. That's going to create a lot of jobs.
So if we can kind of tie all these things together, so.
So you have her information?
Yeah.
And then we'll just,
Can I get cards for them too?
I have mine, the board.
May I get your card too, Doolars?
There,
they're
but
up
if you go
front.
next door, here's mine, all the commissioners are
I got your
right
email,
up
but I
front.
didn't
Okay.
say that.
Okay.
But yeah,
Yeah, they probably,
so
if we get them,
yeah.
I can grab some really quick.
Pronounce your last name.
Oh, Di Ferdinando. That's a big one.
Ferdinando.
Italiano. Yeah, preschool was pretty tough. Well, thank you all so much for your time and opportunity, and yeah, I'm just.
Dolores is getting her card.
She'll be right back.
Okay.
She's bringing us some cards.
Cool. And then, if I too, I have a possibility of opening up, I was had a MIPS in Denver in 2010, 2011. Are you familiar with the MIPS? Is the Infused Products Manufacturing License. And I was also wanting to possibly set up a meeting, maybe like a month or two, about maybe talking about the possibility about the county would open up to bring an infused products manufacturing kitchen here. I have been talking to a woman that owns a kitchen here that I just sort of wrote her a letter of intent of what we would like to do with the property and stuff like that. Because, it's kind of a big deal for a lot of people. And, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Me too, blessings.
Thanks.
Further business? Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Tell us what happened.